Hello, welcome back to another episode of A Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. I'm Cal, and I'm joined as ever by my good buddy Gaz. How you doing, big dog? How are you?
I'm good. I've just clocked right. So I always put my name as Gary on this,
Mm.
but I always call myself Gaz on the podcast and on Instagram. So do I need to change my name on this recording software to be Gaz?
Um, I don't think anybody is that arsed enough about
You,
it. They probably pick it up.
no, well, if you just let us know in the comments if you do actually pick it up that my name's Gary on the podcast, but everything else is Gaz because makes no fucking difference. Just
I
destroys
suppose
fun.
there's quite a lot of American viewers that are not viewers, American commenters on Instagram that maybe the Gary Gaz nickname doesn't quite translate. Maybe we can ask today's guest, which is it's a bit strange for me. So this guest and we've known each other since we were 10 years old, I think. And he's grown up and done incredible things. I'll let him tell you all about it, but he played at quite a high level over in the States and over in Australia. But here to talk about the Rays today, we got my boy Grant. Do you wanna bring him in?
I'd love to.
Hell yeah.
How's it going? How's it going? Good to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me.
No, of course, bro. Thanks for being here and taking time out of your busy skiing holiday to chat some absolute bollocks with us.
Well, always happy to do it. Always good to catch up with a good friend too. Yeah, we've known each other since I was 10, and I think right when I turned 16, did you stay in Kuwait?
No, so I left just after we did our GCSEs. So I left when I was about 15.
Okay, that's right when I left. I did my GCSEs and then I bounced like
Mm.
a month before school started. I got the chance to go play some ball in Australia, which was pretty cool. And then that led me to the States, and I played college baseball. I played Division 1 and Division 2 college baseball for 5 years. God, I'm one of those guys that played forever. And then I got the chance to coach. So, yeah, that's kind of where we kind of diverted. But it's good to catch up with you, man.
It's so weird because me and Grant would in year 7. I don't know what that is in American terms, but like year 7, when you're like fucking what 11 or something, we would
Yeah,
sit there and talk about baseball because Grant had this like David Ortiz lunchbox and he had this like one catalog that you would bring in, and each day to be like, actually, I want this bat. And just everyone would be like, just play football, man. What are you doing? And he's like, dude, you don't understand. And he was that passionate and excited about it that I was like, oh, maybe I should check it out. And fucking here we are, 16 years later, talking about baseball on the internet. Crazy.
talking about the Rays.
Yeah.
Small world moment, huh?
Just quickly before we get going, I don't know how much of the intro you could hear, but does the nickname Gaz from Gary carry over in the States? Is that like a thing, or should we
It's
explain it clearer?
it's so funny that you mention it because my first college head coach, his name was Gary Van Tol, and I used to call him the Gas Man. And literally, I'll never forget. It was one of those things that we'd kind of say, like, you don't want him to hear it. Like, oh yeah, Gasman said to do this, and I got in trouble one day. I was a little bit of a shithead, to say the least, my freshman year, and I
Mm.
got in trouble one day, and I was in his office, and I was having to explain to him why I was in his office, and I accidentally dropped Gasman. And if anybody knows Gary, he's scary Gary. He's the most intimidating 5'5" man you've ever met.
Damn.
And I said Gazman, and he like stopped for a second. He went, what did you call me? And I was like, oh. In my head, I was like, oh, shit. And I was like, Gazman. And he was like, I like that. I want you to call me that from now on. And I was like, you serious? He was like, yeah, Gazman. And so we got out to practice. I was like the last guy out that day. And he said, yeah, Grant and Gazman are here to the whole team. And everyone looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So I don't think it's caught on over here. Like I think of famous Garys. I know of guys. It's normal, but it hasn't caught on here.
Damn. All right. Well, maybe we should change the name tag there for you, just to be super clear for the Americans that don't know that you are also the Gas Man.
I can't say I've ever been referred to as the Gaz man. I think we can keep it that way. It feels like it's sacred to that 5'5" college coach of Grants. You know, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
Maybe if the Rays win the World Series, you have to go by Gazman for the whole next year.
Sure.
That's a safe bet. Fine.
Yeah,
That's
fine.
pretty safe bet.
Fine. Yeah, this season, fine. Yeah, thanks so much for joining us to talk about Rays baseball. As me and Cal said before we came on air, I know quite a lot about a few teams. I'd say I'm fairly knowledgeable about most of the teams. The Rays I'm not familiar with very much. You know, I know they're playing Tampa. I know they used to be called the Devil Rays. And I know, you know, you had Christopher Morel on your team this year. Couple of
Sucked.
Yeah, he does. 30 home runs, but will also bat sub 150. But before we get into the season review, we've got some hot takes for you. So I don't know how familiar, you know, I know Nando's is it's, you know, some places in America has Nando's, some places don't. Obviously, I'm not entirely sure, you know, where, you know, mentioned where you coached and where you played. Have you come across Nando's before?
Every time I go home, I always make it a point to go there. I actually order the sauce online. So yeah, I order bottles and the seasonings, and I try to make it myself. I'm an amateur chef, so
Let's go.
Color me pleasantly surprised, because I normally have to explain this in detail. I will anyway, because we never know if you have like our first time listeners here from Tampa or anything like that. So we have hot takes. They're normally given by my greyhound Boo, who has actually joined me for the recording, but she's asleep, as greyhounds normally are. And she's on annual leave until March. So it's normally called Boo's Hot Takes, but this time it's just hot takes from the Brit Does Baseball team. We'd like you to rank the hot take using the Nando's Spice Scale as your kind of thermometer. If you don't agree with a take, it's very, very hot. Or sorry, very hot. If you do agree with a take, it's like it's mild. What are we even doing here, Gaz or Gary? For those of you that might get confused, if you think it's outrageous, there is a secret Nando's sauce. It used to be on the secret menu, but they got rid of the secret menu because, you know, money. And it's called Peri Tamer, as I'm sure if you've had it before. Nice little barbecue. It kind of sits between medium and hot. Nice little tips, nice little tinge to it. If you think it's outrageous, it's a Peri Tamer take. Grant, are you ready for your hot takes?
let's do it. Lay it on me.
And for those regular viewers, we've actually got a bit of a twist on this one, but we'll save that to the end. So the first hot take is that the Rays unfortunately losing their home, Tropicana Field, ahead of the 2025 season in the Hurricane. It's actually going to bode well for the Rays in short-term results. Where do you have that on your spice scale?
If I'm correct, I have it as extra spicy because I agree with it. I love it.
No, it's the other way around.
Lemon herb.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the Rays aren't even in Tampa. I mean, you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the football team, sell out every game. You look at the hockey team, they won a NHL a few years ago, sell out every game. The Rays are in St. Petersburg. It's like a 30-minute drive across a really terrible bridge to drive across. So I love it. I saw the new ownership's looking to buy a shipyard, kind of on the right on the water in downtown Tampa, and convert it to a new stadium, kind of like San Francisco's. Like I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think, you know, you gotta get fans in the stadium. You know, if you want to sign big players, people got to pay to come watch them. I mean, look at the Dodgers. Cheapest ticket you could buy to a Dodgers game is like $200 to sit in the nosebleeds to pay off that Ohtani contract, which they paid off in 1 year, which is crazy, right? So, yeah, anything to get more fans in the seats and get it actually closer to Tampa. I mean, I like it. So, lemon herb.
Love that, Cal. I think you're nodding in agreement, but I could be mistaken.
I am. I think that if I'm wrong, the stadium that they're playing in now, is it not the exact dimensions of Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, it is. It's actually the Yankees minor league field.
Yeah, which is like fucking 20 meters to right. So that can only be a good thing. Yeah, I mean, I think that playing in a smaller stadium is going to be a little bit of a hindrance. And it seems like that Alan was telling us before that the Buccaneers and the Yankees are going to be kind of potential roadblocks in getting anything solidified until for the next 5 years or so. So that could be a hindrance, but I think that playing on a a hitter's friendly field is gonna mean more wins in the regular season overall. So I'll go Lemon and Herb. I think that's pretty tame.
No, I thought I was going to get you with that one, but I suppose the fact that they don't actually play in Tampa really hinders that hot take. Thank you very much for. I think you gave me that one actually, Cal.
I did. You're welcome.
My second one, I'm going to change it a little bit because I'm looking at the players from last year, and you guys have got one superstar in Junior Caminero at third base. Like the guy's by far the Rays' best player. My hot take is that the Rays are going to trade him in the next 2 years. Just because they seem to trade everyone.
I'm gonna go with medium garlic. Like garlic, just give a little extra flavor, but medium.
Okay. Yeah.
That's actually the sauce I buy off Amazon, just for you viewers that want to know. It's like $10. But why? I mean, you can never rule out the Rays trading away their best player. That's a given. Don't grow attached. Everyone knows that if you're a Rays fan. But I'll say this. They got a lot of money on the books because it's looking like they're not going to have to pay the kid touch-up, Juan DeFranco, right? And that frees up a lot of money. I could see them building around him because, that's what set the Rays. Like, the reason the Rays aren't in the playoffs, in my opinion, I don't argue this to its core, is because they set up a plan around one guy and he decided he liked little girls. It's the best way to put it. And they lost him, and I could see them taking a couple years to rebuild. They've reloaded the farm system, and I could see him making a play building around him. So but at the same time, you can't rule out the Rays trading away the best players. They always do that. So
fair enough. Cal, are you? Where are you on this one?
I'm gonna go hot. I think they trade him in 4 years. I think they extend him and then trade off the big contract. I think that it would be silly. They've kept hold of him for a reason, right? Because like you said, it seems like just about everyone else is gone. So they must have some big plans for him. And if that doesn't include building a team to support him, then I don't know what the fuck's going on. But I often don't know what the fuck is happening. So that's not really new. I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay for a while. Maybe he's they see him as a bit more of a draw and a bit more of a face of the franchise than the rest. Maybe they see something in his personality that they didn't see with the rest that they believe in commercially that might keep him around more. I'm gonna go pretty hot. I don't think he gets traded within 2 years unless he starts being god awful and they can trade him off of name value alone. But that's other stuff.
Fair enough. Now, we normally have 3 hot takes. Well, we haven't for the past few episodes, but traditionally we have 3 hot takes. We thought we'd do a little bit of a twist on this one. So Grant's actually come with his own Rays hot take that me and Cal are gonna be the guest for the next 2 minutes. So Grant, over to you.
Okay. All right. You gotta follow me along with this one. Okay. So you look at anything that is good in the game of baseball right now that has positively impacted other organizations, it always comes from the same place. It comes from the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay. And you look at the obsession with the sweeping slider. Tampa Bay Rays started that in 2019. Okay. It's taken over the game. You look at not necessarily home runs, it's a Yankees thing, but you look at a bunch of other trends in what they look for in pitches, like the fastballs that rise. Rays started that. Okay. Low budget team, great front office. But the biggest thing, if you look at their roster right now, is they're shifting towards batting average guys. A lot of guys that they get that don't hit home runs, but they get on base. They swipe bags. Chandler Simpson, Jake Mangum, RIP. Wish they didn't trade him away. Love that guy. You look at some of the guys coming in, and I think the Rays are going to become relevant again in the next couple of years as they rebuild, get some guys in the show, but they're going to be built around an offense that plays the game the old school way. Gets on base, right? Hits for an average. Hits focus on singles and getting on base, swiping bags, the traditional game, bunts. They sack bunt a lot. And I think they're going to win a World Series in the next 5-8 years, and you're going to see a shift in the game, shifting towards that. That's my hot
Interesting.
take.
Okay. So there's a few parts to this one. So the Rays, so baseball is going to revert back a little bit to slightly pre-analytical times, and also the Rays are going to win a World Series in 5 to 8 years. So that's that's what we're going here. I mean, I would like to see it. I'm gonna go a little Perry Tamer, but not because I completely disagree with it. I think that like you're right in that a lot of the trends like you see with the rising fastball and with the kind of sweeping slider and stuff like that, it is interesting that the Rays seem to be at the forefront of it, and there is kind of it feels like teams are wanting to throw away the excessively analytical side that, you know, with the Giants we had under Farhan Zaidi for quite a while. And it was just fucking sick of it. You're pulling out pitchers playing well because, like, statistically, we should get a left-hander in, and fucking bollocks. The guy's playing well, keep him in. Yeah, I like it. I agree with it. I think it's I think it's very interesting. I'm not sure if the Rays are going to win a World Series in the next 5 to 8 years. It would be nice if they made it to the World Series. But yeah, I'm gonna go Perry Tamer. There's a lot going on there, and I agree with a lot of it, and semi disagree with some of it. But Gaz, what do you reckon? Are they going all the way eventually?
Not in the next fight. I'm putting the World Series element of that as Perry Tamer, and
Right.
that just because. Just the way the Rays model is, it's they go and get these players that haven't really got a home elsewhere. They make them into something, you know, marketable and a really good player. And then, because as you said, they're a small market team. Unless something goes through with this new stadium, I just think they're going to operate around the margins. Do I see them getting into the playoffs in the next 5 to 8 years? Absolutely. I think the Yankees are. I think the Yankees are going to be on a bit of a slide. Obviously, the Blue Jays and the Red Sox are probably going to be hot at the moment. And I'm trying to remember the fifth.
Real.
Oh, Razor. Orioles, yeah, Orioles are cooked. Don't worry about that. That's like having your pigeon for dinner. I just don't see them winning a World Series in the next 5 to 8 years, just because I think their model isn't going to change unless something comes through with the stadium. With regards to coming back to like batting average and reverting the game a little bit, I'm going to put that part as a hot take, but it's something I would like to see. Like those innings when I'm watching the Cubs, and you just beat up on a team, and it's just like a single, it's a double, it's a home run, bases clearing, and then you just start that process again. That for me is a lot more fun than just going, oh, Aaron Judge has just hit a solo home run, or Shohei Ohtani has just hit a solo home run. It's much more entertaining to see, like, you know, the bunting is part of the game. Some of the bunts you see put down are beautiful, but you barely see it anymore because people are too busy swinging for the fences. It's something that I'd want to see. The only reason I've got it as hot is because you've got players like Ohtani and Judge who are going to keep mashing the ball, and there's always going to be people that mash the ball. And unless stadiums are put out an extra 10 meters everywhere, I think those home run numbers are just going to keep climbing and climbing because that's the way the game's going. So, we'll meet in the middle. We'll go very hot, but I don't. Again, with like same with Cal, I'd like to see it revert a little bit back to playing baseball. Some would say, rather than just mashing the homers.
I think there's going to be an interesting divide between kind of power hitting teams and contact hitting teams. I think it's going to be really interesting when they like face each other as well. Like it's gonna prove for a lot of really entertaining games of baseball, and so I hope more teams kind of adopt the small ball approach of just get on base. It feels like that's how the Blue Jays got to the fucking World Series. Like they hit the ball and then ran to the base, and then occasionally they'd take another one when they're not really supposed to. Like it, I don't know. It's power of friendship baseball, and I love it.
I mean, everybody loves home runs. It's the
Nah,
best feeling. It's the best feeling in the world.
they're
In the
overrated,
lawn.
man.
Yeah, but I'd rather have
But-
someone on base with the home run than
Yeah.
Ohtani just popped another one leading off. Great, we're 1-0 up, but then
All right. I'm calling it there. We've hit our Otani word counter limit. We've said his name 5 times. That's enough for MLB to pick it up. We can stop saying that name now.
Felt it contractually obligated to say Otani at least twice.
Wait,
Anyway,
Judge. There we go. There's the other
okay.
one too.
And we'll chuck in an Ellie De La Cruz for fun.
Yeah,
Anyway, we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about Judge or Otani. Thank God. We're here to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays and your 2025 season. So, just as a quick summary for those of you that didn't know the Rays, what they did last year, they finished with a record of 77 wins and 85 losses, fourth in the AL East, finishing 17 games back from the Blue Jays and Yankees, who tied for the division lead. 41 and 40 at home, 36 and 45 away. I say at home in inverted commas because the Rays played all their home games at Steinbrenner Field, which is the Yankees Spring Training facility somewhere else in Florida. So they didn't really play in Tampa as you would. Well, they don't play in Tampa anyway. Grant, I guess the first question is, if you could sum up the Rays season in one word, what would it be and why?
We say expected.
Yeah.
Expected. I mean, I kind of alluded earlier. I firmly believe they're in an organizational reset because of circumstances out of their control. They were set to make a big push, and things happened. Star players got suspended and going to jail, and so it kind of set them up where they had to reset, rebuild. And I think anything they do right now in this kind of 2 to 3 year rebuild is a bonus. I think the real push is in 2 years. When you get some of these younger guys coming through, like Carson Williams, Chandler Simpson, Jacob Melton, who they just traded for. So, yeah, I think it was expected, but there were some positives getting to see some of those younger guys come up and get their feet wet.
nice. And speaking of those positives, what were some of your kind of personal highlights of watching and experiencing the Rays this year?
So I'd say one of them, my first, which is biased, because everyone's going to expect me to say seeing Junior Caminero break out. I got to see Tristan Peters make the big leagues for the Rays. He didn't get a hit. He hit 0. But played against Tristan Peters, one of the best baseball players I've ever seen. Amazing dude, first-class human. So it was cool to see that. It was cool to see Junior Caminero go off. Obviously, I lived in Perth for a while, and he played for the Perth Heat.
Wow.
Mutual friends with a lot of my really good friends still to this day. So that was pretty cool to see, Caminero have the season he had. I really like seeing Yandy Diaz be Yandy Diaz. I think Yandy Diaz is one of the most underrated players in baseball. I think, honestly, this is another hot take, but I think he's arguably the second most valuable player in baseball after Jose Ramirez. There's a spicy take for you. Extremely spicy.
There you go.
And then I like to see, Drew Rasmussen. He's another guy. He had a pretty solid year. Obviously, Shane McClanahan got injured in spring training. But Drew Rasmussen had a really solid year, and that's another guy, Pacific Northwest guy. Like, it's cool to root for him and kind of see all the things he's doing. So those are my highlights. And then trading for Jacob Melton, as I kind of mentioned earlier, played against Jacob Melton in 2018. God, it's a long time ago. So getting to see him be on the Rays in the offseason, centerpiece of the Brandon Lau trade was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, that's a lot of positives, and there's a lot. What's really cool is that what we find when we're doing these reviews is that so many people's positive stories and positive experiences of their teams always have like some kind of deeply personal connection. So it's even cooler that it's like a highlight for me was like watching my friend get to play. Like that's fucking rad. That's so cool, man. I really love it. But unfortunately, not everything was positive this year.
No.
Was we got to talk low points a little bit, and we have to. I think we owe the Rays fans an apology. We apologize quite often to the Rays fans, but none more so now. I feel like we made bad results happen because we were talking about how good the Rays were playing, and we think we cursed them quite badly.
We were
Actually,
very high on the Rays when they were winning in like April, May. We were like, oh, the Rays are going to be like the shock of the century. And then we looked a month later and we were like, oh, no. What have we done?
Yeah, so some apologies are needed for sure. So for that one,
I mean, I think the worst thing I say is playing in the minor league stadium. That's got to stop. I mean, you know, I think there was I don't know who it was. There was a minor leaguer, I want to say, he played for Sacramento. Or well, it's Oakland, Vegas. I don't even know what to call him these days. But he got called up to the big leagues, and his first home games were in Sacramento at the minor league field there. Then they went on the road to the Rays, played at the minor league field. Then he got sent down. Like, what a terrible welcome to the big leagues moment, you know? But I think the stadium, that sucks. But on the positive side, they sold it out like damn near every game, which is pretty cool. And I think another letdown, trading away star players, Brandon Lau gone. I really liked Shane Baz. He was a guy that, I rooted for, a big part of the pre-catcher trade. Struggled with some injuries, having a good year at points. And so they ship him off for prospects. It's the usual standard. Obviously, Brandon Lau being gone. I have mixed feelings about Brandon Lau, but nonetheless, kind of face of the franchise stud, him gone. That sucks. That's the usual. That's the life of a Rays fan. And then I think the biggest one for me is I really like Jake Mangum, SEC hit king, underlooked guy. I don't know if you know when he got drafted. He decided to stay for his last year at Mississippi State to break the SEC all-time hit record, and then got drafted in the 4th round and absolutely shafted by the Mets. His slot value was like $800,000, and they gave him like 10 grand. It's like take it or leave it, And yeah, and for him to work when I was tail off and make it to the big leagues was pretty cool, and to see him succeed. And now he's back with the Mets. I think that's literally where they traded him. I don't know.
oh, no.
But that's another feel good story. Root for him, and he's a great dude, and it's just sad to see him go. But yeah.
Damn, yeah, that sucks. That's fuck it. That feels like it should be illegal. If you're supposed to sign for 800 grand and they give you 10, I'd be on the phone to the players' union pretty quickly. I think.
Times have changed. But back then, when it was the 40-round draft, like, man, it was criminal how they kind of went about some things. But but things have changed for the positive in the minor leagues.
That's all right. And hopefully they're only getting better as well. I mean, we'll probably end up doing a whole lockout specific episode, but just quickly, how do you, as a somebody who is involved a little bit more in organized baseball, the upcoming lockout and stuff, what are your stances on some of the things that they're going to be talking about with, like, bringing the salary floor up for minor leaguers, and maybe introducing a bit more of a harder salary cap and things like that?
This is interesting. I think it's good that they treat the minor leaguers better. I mean, like you see stories of like Eric Sim and some other guys talk about what life is like when they played minor league baseball. It sucked.
Yeah.
And it very truly was a survival of the fittest who could make it, who had the will to make it. And so it's good. It shouldn't be like that. Housing should be free. On the flip side, though, I think a lot of opportunities for guys who probably deserve a chance. And, for the last 30 years, 40 years before they went to this 20-round draft, and I heard they're even thinking of shrinking it again, right? Who no doubt would have gotten a professional contract. No doubt they give them a chance. Now they don't get a chance. I think it's unfair on those guys, At the same time, I think it's unfair on minor leaguers who don't have a lot of financial investment after one bad season to get axed, or a couple bad seasons, axed for a new guy. So I don't know. I mean, I'm 50-50 on it. I think, I don't know. I think the minor leagues, I think it's at a good place right now. And I hope that they continue to support those minor leaguers, but also like I hope the big leaguers don't go into a lockout and refuse to play like they did back in what was it, 1994, 1992, something like that.
Mm.
I don't know. I think baseball's at a fragile point right now, if I'm being 100% honest, and I think that moves need to be made on both sides to promote the game and grow it. Um, that's my honest opinion.
I think that if they are to shrink the draft even more, I think that it proposes quite an interesting opportunity for like international baseball, because you've got so many more of these, quite frankly, incredible athletes. Even the guys that are in low A are fucking phenomenal at what they're doing. It's quite an interesting opportunity, I think, for maybe more European leagues and stuff like that. Like I know that baseball's quite big in Germany and the Czech Republic and Australia and of course in Korea and Japan. Like it might be interesting for some leagues to think about kind of a bit more investment and then getting some of the college guys that aren't making it into the minor leagues and maybe trying to secure some funding to bring them over and then growing the sports as something you can go and watch rather than just things that it played around the world a bit more. Like, I don't know. I think that could be really interesting. The British baseball should have a think about kind of expanding the NBL, building some stands maybe.
It's I mean it's been cool to see. Like a lot of my buddies, a lot of my buddies are still playing for the Pursuit, and one of the guys I coached at NNU, Josh Bishop, I'll give him a shout out. Hopefully he watches this, but he was one of our guys at NNU. We were a really good D2. We ranked third in the country, lost in the national semifinal, and he went back and played in the ABL, and I think he's a shoe in to win Rookie of the Year, and he's looking like he might get a chance to make the World Baseball Classic roster, right? So like it's like stories like that are super cool. And like guys I played against in Australia who played in the minor leagues, had varied success, didn't make the bigs, and now getting to play in the NPB. One of my childhood buddies from when I was in Kuwait, he didn't play in Kuwait, he played in Dubai, so we played against each other a lot. He's playing in Germany right now for the Hamburg Steelers, I think the name is. Like, so I think it's cool. I think it's a great avenue to get people to see the world. I mean, you live over here, and a lot of people are very American centric, and they don't have a lot of experiences, and so it's cool to get to see people keep playing and let this game take them to some pretty cool places. So I hope that there is an investment in international baseball, and avenues for people to see the world grow. I mean, as Cal and I both know, getting to grow up overseas, it's a pretty surreal experience, and you learn a lot of life lessons. So I think I'd like to see that.
No, it's great. Also, just quickly, if the Hamburg Steelers mascot isn't the Hamburglar from McDonald's, something's fucked up in the world. Anyway, thanks for talking 2025, Rays. We're going to take a wee break just now, and then when we come back, we're going to look at 2026, talk some free agents and potential trades if there's fucking anyone left to trade with the Rays, and yeah, get into some start bench cut. We'll see you shortly.
Hi, welcome back to Brit Does Baseball, the season review. We're with Grant, one of Cal's childhood friends, talking about the Tampa Bay Rays. And he's still here, so obviously their friendship lives on after all these years, which is lovely to see. It's safe to say, looking into 2026, there's a few question marks, I'd say, on how the Rays are going to do. They seem to have been involved in some of the biggest trades when it comes down to sheer numbers of players that are there. And I'm looking at your projected lineup for next year, and essentially, like Gavin Lux has come over from the Cincinnati Reds to play in the middle infield. Cedric Mullins, you signed on a free agent deal. Well, I think it's 1 year, maybe 2 years.
Two, I think.
Yeah, for a reasonable amount of money. Jake Fraley, another Cincinnati Red, who's come over to play Brightfield. But you seem to have traded away players like Brandon Lau, Josh Lowe, Jake Magnum, who had a really good year, I thought. I guess the first question is, how do you feel about the Rays making all of these trades? Shane Baz as well, gone to the Orioles. How do you feel about the Rays essentially, unless your name's Junior Caminero pretty much, or Yandy Diaz, you got to get yourself acquainted with new players. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's just the way the way it is. That's kind of how it goes, how the cookie crumbles. The moves they made, I like. I like the hole they got for Shane Baz. I like the hole they got for Brandon Lau in the 3-team trade. Um, I like Jake Fraley. I like Cedric Mullins. I know I was reading. They think they might have one of the best lineups in baseball against right-handed pitching. No clue who's going to hit against lefties at all. They'll figure that out as they go. But I like the guys that they've brought in. I like that it's setting them up to bring up some of those prospects. I like Carson Williams is going to get a run to be the everyday shortstop, top prospect. Dominic Keegan looking like he's going to have a shot to be, one of the main guys behind the dish. Jacob Melton, guy they were high on, obviously mentioned earlier, played against him. Oh my God, the home run he hit against us to take the lead in the 8th was unbelievable. But I fancy him to play a lot. I like it. And yet again, talk about, as I said earlier in my hot take, the goal isn't this year. The goal is 3 to 5 years, and it's shaping up where they're really putting themselves in a position to make a run in 3 to 5 years. And hopefully, they'll have some money to spend in 3 to 5 years. Maybe Elon Musk will become a Rays fan. I don't know.
Oh, let's hope not.
Yeah, we can keep him out of baseball. That'd be quite nice. Like I said, I'm looking at your starting depth next year, and there's a few names. If you're a Rays fan, you're going to be familiar with. I think your key cornerstones are your corner infielders, Jonathan Aranda at first and Caminero at third. And as you said, you've got your prospects coming up. Dominic Keegan behind the dish, and at shortstop, I'm scrolling down just shortstop. What was his name? Carson Williams.
Carson Williams. Yep.
And then on the pitching side, you've got Shane McLennan hopefully coming back. Drew Rasmussen, who was on my dream team last year and helped me defeat Cal and 6 other people before I lost to Nathan in the final because he was listed as a relief pitcher, even though he started every game. Pepio, Stephen Matz, and Joe Boyle, who for some reason I've always followed Joe Boyle's career when he was at Oakland, and then coming over and has he got it, has it not, has he not? It's an interesting one. What are you most looking forward to seeing in 2026? Players wise or position. Who are you most looking forward to?
Caminero continuing to do what he does. See how he adjusts to his second year in the league or second full season. Obviously Jacob Melton, I'm excited to see him. Dominic Keegan, Carson Williams, like 3 guys, young guys who, high draft picks, a lot of potential. Looking forward to having McClanahan back. I'll say this, having played the game at a high level, there's something about facing an ace. They're legit. They're just a little better than everybody else. And getting to see a true ace, legitimate Cy Young contender when healthy, come back, that'll be good. And then also, I'm excited to see Cedric Mullins. I've always liked Cedric Mullins. He's had a little bit of a career revival, kind of brought into more of the power, less contact. I'm excited to see how the Rays utilize him, but also as a veteran, a little bit of leadership presence. Excited to see that. And most importantly, I don't know if you guys know this, but Kevin Cash is back. Longest tenured manager in the big leagues. I really like what he does. He shakes it up. He's different, and I think he's a good leader. And I'm excited to see the strings he and the front office pull to make something out of potentially nothing. I don't know.
Nice. I think, as we said, he kind of goes under the radar, Kevin Cash, as a manager, just because they're always looking over in the East. They're like, oh, what have the Yankees done? Oh, Aaron Boone's been ejected for the 16th time this season. Meanwhile, the Rays could go on a 10-game winning streak and it'd be all about Boone getting ejected. So they do go under the radar in the media, and that's, partially MLB's fault and partially the wider public for not being Tampa Bay Rays fans. But that's where we are. We don't get too many Rays news over in the UK, which is, shame on MLB. So we are approaching, we're filming this at the end of January. We're approaching the end of free agency, realistically. Spring training starts in 2-3 weeks. Is there anyone else on the market that you would like to see the Rays trade for, or any free agents? Can I tempt you with anyone that's still on the market?
Yeah, I heard that Judge is available for trade. Maybe swing a couple prospects for him. That might be good.
You might need to chuck in Gavin Lux or someone in the deal just to help it go over the edge.
Probably. No, in all honesty, I don't really want to see him make too many splashes. I'd like to see him stick with these young guys. I think the jump from AAA to the big leagues is the biggest it's ever been, and you're not going to learn unless you get there. So I'd like to see some of these guys get a chance to stick and see what they're made of. across a full season. Um, yeah, there's not necessarily really anyone I'd like to see traded. I mean,
Okay.
the best bet would maybe be Yandy Diaz for some prospects. But I love Yandy Diaz. He's one of my favorite players in baseball, underrated. So I'd like to see him stick around and be a leader and veteran presence on this team.
No doubt. And I guess we've already kind of touched on it, but you see the Rays as like a bit of a rebuilding year next year, right?
Mhm.
But what realistically are your expectations for next year? You know, are you hoping Caminero continues? Are you hoping maybe one of the young pitchers breaks out and, you know, potentially an all-star nod, or, you know, some of your veterans, maybe a Yandy Diaz, who I know people don't want to see traded, but if he goes and mashes 20 home runs by the all-star break, or the trade deadline, all of a sudden the Rays have got another 4 or 5 top prospects in. What are you realistically looking to see next year from the Rays?
Like to see 85 wins. I think that's realistic. 85 wins would be nice. I'd like them to be in contention with a chance to September, because September baseball is always really fun. I would like to see Yandy Diaz hit 20 home runs at the All Star break and get an All Star nod and see, depending on what management sees from the team, maybe get traded. Or, if they think they're all in, maybe go get a guy. Um, yeah, I think nobody likes watching losing baseball. Nobody likes being on a losing team. And I think with all these young guys coming up, I think having been on winning teams, having been on teams trying to be 500, I think just being a winning team above 500 and getting these young guys used to being in a winning environment is what I'd like to see. So yeah, 85 wins is my big thing. I'd love that.
Nice. We normally do ask at the end what's your under over win total, but we've already covered that off, so that's wonderful.
80, 84.5.
And you're taking the over, which is, you should always take the over. Always take the over. Have a bit of confidence in your boys.
Not necessarily.
Well, okay, unless you're Cal and you go 115.5 on the under over for the Giants,
And
and then you go, yeah, I'll take the under, but it's more you being unrealistic. I guess sort of my last big question is just regards, the Rays organization is in a bit of a weird position, right? You don't have a home stadium. You're playing at the New York Yankees Spring Training facility. Tropicana Field is more than, I think it's like another 2 years before it's even ready to, if they were to rebuild it, to even be a usable stadium. Where do you see the future of the Rays? Because there's been rumors that, people are looking to move them maybe up to Nashville, or somewhere else. Where, what does the future hold for the Tampa Bay Rays, do you think?
Really like to see him hit downtown Tampa. That's what I'd like to see. And this might be a hot take, but it's one of the best sports cities in the country. I mean, the football team, they're a perennial playoff team. The hockey team is one of the best. Keep baseball there. The baseball team's usually pretty good. I mean, last couple of years have been a rebuild, but they're usually really solid. And then they have a football or soccer team, as American views would call it, and they're pretty solid too. So I'd like to see him stay in Tampa. I just think they need to move to Tampa and get out of St. Petersburg. So
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's very honest and very realistic. And then I guess my last question before I hand over to Cal is, I always ask this. So imagine that I'm new to baseball. 2026 is my first year of fandom, and I'm a big vibes guy, right? I love vibes players, and I'm an NFL fan, and I see Baker Mayfield. I'm like, that guy's just pure vibes, right? As a player, he is one of my favorite players in all of football, American football. Sorry for our British listeners. And I'm thinking, who does he play for? He plays for Tampa Bay. Oh, do you know what? I really want to get into baseball this year. Have Tampa Bay got a team? Oh, the Rays. That's a cool aquatic animal. I want to support the Rays. Why should I support the Rays in 2026 and going forward? What would I have to look forward to?
Oh, I would say the Rays are worth following because if you look at a team that doesn't have a lot but is trying to make the most out of it, think Leicester in 2015 in the Premier League, right? Back then, who was Jamie Vardy? Who was Riyad Mahrez? Who is, I don't even remember the coach's name, but the Italian coach they had. Like, who is this guy? It's like a bunch of people who are going to find ways to win with what they have. And like, that is the Rays. Small budget. They're going to find ways to win. They're going to do things different. Um, if you're going to change the game and find something out of nothing, it's Tampa Bay Rays. And yet again, you look at the last 10 World Series winners, and 9 of them have been a top 8 payroll in the game. The only outliers are Washington Nationals when Soto was young, Rendon before he got that huge ridiculous contract, right? So the big guy always wins, and nobody ever wants to root for the big guy. So like if you're new to the game, root for the small guy, and if there's going to be a small guy that figures it out and finds something quirky, it's going to be Tampa Bay Rays. And they also have the worst stadium in baseball, so
but not for much longer. Technically, not
nothing.
usable.
No, yeah, not
Yeah.
they went from the worst stadium in baseball to the worst borrowed stadium in baseball. So
Well, you heard it here first. Kevin Cash is Claudio Ranieri. There you go.
he is. That's
that,
that is his
that
name.
might
Yep.
be the first time anyone's ever said that sentence. That's quite interesting.
I'll look it up, but I would assume so. That might be a quote. We might need to talk to our friends at Bad Arm Baseball about that one.
Yeah, that would be a ridiculous T-shirt. Just comparing MLB managers to just completely random Premier League manager. Like who's Sunderland's manager just now again? Is the cheese man?
Regis Labrie.
Yeah, there you go.
Regis Labrie. Yep.
Regis Labrie is fucking Ron Washington. Like that. There you go. Why not? Anyway, thank you very much for all your insight and your kind of knowledge and teaching us about the race. That I feel smarter than I did about an hour ago. Let's wind it down. Let's talk some actual nonsense now. So we like to end each episode with a game of start bench cut, and if you don't know the rules, then get your head out your ass. It's called start bench cut. It's not that hard. So we're going to go one baseball related, one non-baseball related. So your baseball related I've got here. I had 2 I wasn't sure about. I had one with position players and one with pitchers. But I think we're going to go position players wise. So start bench cut, Evan Longoria, Carl Crawford, and Yandy Diaz. That's the look. We try to get the look on all of them. Someone always says something personal in the podcast, and we get them.
I mean, there's a very obvious answer, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers. The very obvious answer is you're going to start Evan Longoria, but I'm not going to start him. So when I started following baseball, it was past Evan Longoria's prime, and so I only ever knew him as a guy who I was like, man, like. They hyped this guy up, but he's underperformer. He's strikeout in the big at bats. He wasn't clutch. And I never was a Longoria fan. I actually was, at the time, I was semi-glad that they traded him away, but I didn't know him in his prime. I didn't know him as this superstar, this, MVP, caliber player. So I'm going to bench him. I'm obviously going to start Yandy Diaz because I love Yandy Diaz. Yet again, second most underrated player in baseball after Jose Ramirez. So yeah, I'm cutting Carl Crawford, and that's crazy to say because Carl Crawford's one of the greatest players in franchise history. I don't know, he went to the Dodgers. I don't really like the Dodgers, so went to the Red Sox. Not a huge Red Sox fan, so there you go.
There you go. Well, it's valid reasons. Guys, what do you reckon?
See, this is tough because I've only been a fan of baseball since 2023. So I think I caught maybe Longoria's last year in Arizona, I want to say. Cole Crawford, you could have said anyone and I'd believed you that they play for the Rays. And obviously I know Yandy Diaz. I think I'm going to have to start Yandy Diaz. I'm going to go with Grant on this one just because he's the player I've seen the most of. And I know all the comments are going to be, you don't know ball because Evan Longoria was fantastic. It's before I started watching. Get a fucking grip. Not everyone knows ball. Half the comments we get are, oh, this person knows ball. And then they give an opinion and you're like, that's worse than mine. Sorry, we're getting into comments that we've been working through at the moment. And someone's trying to tell me that Geraldo Perdomo, who I didn't even put on my list of top 5 shortstops, who I think was the 24th best player in baseball statistically, is not in the top 5 shortstops. And it's just like...
Had a really good year. Yeah,
he did have a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm getting angry, I think, on someone else's behalf there because it wasn't even on my list. But I look at all the comments. So start Yandy Diaz. I'm going to bench just because it's going to wind more people up. I'm going to bench Cole Crawford. I'm going to cut Evan Longoria.
Oof,
Is he married? Is he married to someone like famous actress?
Eva. Everyone thinks Eva Longoria, but no.
Have I got that right?
Are you
I think he
thinking of fucking what was his name? Justin Verlander?
Mm-hmm. No,
He's married to someone quite famous.
he's married to a famous actress. Yeah,
Mm.
but
There's a
no,
famous actress whose last name is Longoria.
Yeah,
it's Eva Longoria. But I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think they're married. I don't think so.
No, I think you're right. His wife is. Yeah, it's not Eva Longoria. It couldn't be more wrong.
Eva and Evan would have been a crazy name pairing as well.
Mm-hmm.
They had kids. What do they call them? Do you extend it or do you go even shorter? Who knows?
Evan
Emmanuel.
with a silent E. Evan E. Or something.
It's Avan with like a little accent over the E. Smashing. All right. Now that baseball's out the way, I don't want to think about it anymore. That was quite enough. We're talking golf. I know that you've been a big golf guy for quite a while, and so
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you 3, quite frankly, incredible courses, and I want you to start one, bench one, cut one in terms of which one you want to play the most, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
you have got Augusta in Georgia, you've got Pine Valley in New Jersey, and Cypress Point at Pebble Beach.
Hmm. I'm gonna go. I think if I said anything other than Augusta as my start, everyone in my office would shoot me. Um, they're all avid golfers too, so I'm gonna say I'm gonna start Augusta.
Right.
Obviously, it's iconic. I'm gonna bench Cypress Valley at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, Cypress Point.
So Cypress Point. So I've actually been there.
Crazy.
It costs like $100 just to walk the course, and it was when we were playing in a regional. I was coaching, and I got there a day early. We got shafted from the charter flight. Me and a guy named Eric. So we got there like a day early. So we're just like, what should we do in Monterey Bay? And Pebble Beach is right there. So I got to look at it from a long way away. Definitely would like to play there. That's for sure. I think it's there's a famous par 3, I think, on there. So that would be pretty awesome to play. And then I'll go with the course in New Jersey. What was its name again?
Pine Valley.
Pine Valley. Oh, that's a good one. I want to play all 3. But that's my cut.
I'm starting them.
I'm starting them off. Honestly, I'm taking both your guys' stats. I'm just playing 3 stats. But if I had to, that's the order I'd go with.
It's fine. We can break the rules every now and then. Like I said before, hey man, I don't make the rules. I'm just making the rules. So that's fine. You can start all 3. That's allowed. Gaz, you, however, you can't start one. You have to bench one and cut 2. So that's how we're going to balance this out.
Can't say fairer than that. I would like to say every time we do start bench cut and we take turns giving each other start bench cuts. And I think this is the first. I always give Cal nice ones that he can answer. And every start bench cut I get from Cal is just like, I shot a 152 on my local course like 2 years ago and had more fun drinking when we took the golf buggies around. So we were just getting pissed as well.
I asked you about jazz saxophone players one time as well.
It's just slightly better. I'm gonna. Well, I only get to bench one. I'll bench the course at Pebble Beach. It's because I used to play. You used to have these game consoles called the PSP, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking Tiger Woods PGA Tour 08, let's say 08,
yep.
08, 09, can't remember.
Played the game, loved it. Yep.
Yeah, and you used to joystick back, goes forward for the drive and any iron shot. And I just remember playing the Pebble Beach course all the time and loving it, even though I kept going in the fucking water. It's just it just had some of the best water features. I think Pebble Beach is an actual beach, right? It's not just on the edge of a lake or something, and they call it it's on
the coast. Yeah,
perfect. And it was just like, oh, I'm actually just hitting the ball into the sea. And sometimes I would just purposely aim in there just to see if I could break the game's graphics. So just for those memories, I'm going to bench Pebble Beach. I'm going to cut the other two. If I had a choice between the other two, if there was one I was going to maybe be a bit nicer to on the cut, I'm going to cut. I'm going to piss everyone off. I'm just going to cut. Like Augusta would be bottom of my list. I've just heard it's such a horrible course, and I don't like the fact that the Masters is always played there. Like the other majors, they seem to like go around courses, right? Like the Open in the UK, they only play at the course up at St Andrews, whose name is I'm going to forget.
The old course at St Andrews.
The old course at St Andrews, yeah, that's bad because Emily went there for university, and I've been there. It's a really nice course. I like the fact that they moved the Open around to very challenging courses. I just think everyone's like, "Oh, you want the green jacket? You want the Masters?" It's like, just like behave. I get it. I'm not a golf guy. I'm like, I don't care about a green jacket.
That's
gotta wear one every day at Kez.
Exactly. So I'm gonna cut Augusta, and then the other one I've never heard of that can just slide in the middle. That can be me cutting whilst. Hey, what are you doing? You're out as well. Off you go.
Sorry, mate.
So when I gotta play baseball here, and you play baseball every day. You're on the field for like 4 or 5 hours, right? And one of the questions that was always asked was always, you can pick any 4 guys on the team, 4-man scramble. What are you shooting at Augusta? And like, seriously, people will go to war over arguing what you would shoot in a hypothetical scramble at Augusta National. But it was always one of those things that made practice go by quicker. So solely on that, I can't cut it. I have to at least order it just to be able to tell all my buddies, like, yeah, I shot a 110. Like, so. Yeah,
I don't think they've invented a number high enough for what I'd shoot at Augusta just yet. But
you'd be off the course within a hole.
Yeah,
come on, off you go.
I don't know. They got some pretty old-fashioned kind of admittance reasons going on. I don't think they had their first woman member till like 2013 or some shit. But I don't think they're gonna love these on Augusta. So then maybe they'll get around to letting tattooed guys play soon. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see. But again, even if I was allowed to play, there isn't a number high enough for what I'd score. But anyway, Grant, before we head off, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to shout out at all? Just to give a message to the millions of people that are listening.
I don't know. Shout out my fiance over there. She's kind of been sat patiently waiting to ski, so I'm excited for her to listen to this episode when it comes out. But yeah, no, shout out to everyone in the British baseball community that I do know, and it's been a while since I've been in touch with a lot of you guys, but hope everyone's doing well, and thank you once again, Callum, for letting me do this. It's been a long time, man, and it's been fun catching up these last few years for sure. So
yeah, it's been beautiful. Well, thanks very much for coming on. It really does mean a lot that you took time out of your holiday, and please apologize extensively to your fiance for having to sit and watch, not even listen, just watch you talking to us about bullshit about how high we're going to score at Augusta. But yeah, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. I've been Cal. Gaz has been Gaz. And if you're listening at home, you've been wonderful. We'll catch you in the next one, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.